Okay, good morning. We are going to continue our work with decimals. Today we're going to learn how to round decimals, and you're going to find this very, very easy because it's the same exact rules that we used when we were rounding whole numbers. Nothing has changed. And I'm going to give you the rules now on a separate board. So you should have your notebook open. And when I hold up the board, you're going to pause the video so that you can copy down the rules. And then we'll say it a couple of times to help us commit it to memory. Okay? All right. So right about now, you're going to pause the video and you're going to copy all of this down, these 5 steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 steps, and then you're going to restart the video after you're done writing it. Okay, so pause now. Okay, so you have your rules for rounding in front of you in your notebook, but it's very easy. The first step says find your place, look next door, 5 or above, add 1 more, 4 or less stays the same, numbers behind the line stay the same, after the arrow zeros your name. Okay, so find your place, look next door, 5 and above, add 1 more, 4 or less stays the same, numbers behind the line stay the same, after the arrow zeros your name. Okay, that's the rules. So let's do some problems using these rules. Let's say you were given the decimal 1 and 35 hundredths. 1 and 35 hundredths. And you were asked to round to the nearest tenth. Okay? So, step 1 says find your place. So you have to figure out, is the 1, the 3, or the 5? Which one of those is in the tenths place? Well, this is the ones, and remember the decimal point here separates the whole numbers from the decimal parts. So, ones, tenths, hundredths. So, find your place. Step 2, look next door. 5 and above, add 1 more. So now what they mean by add 1 more is they mean add 1 more to the underlined digit. Okay? So is this 5 and above? Yes, it is. So that means the 3 does not stay a 3. It gets 1 more. So 5 and above, add 1 more. 4 and below stays the same, or you're going to keep it low. Okay? The numbers behind the line stay the same. So the 1 stays the same, the decimal point stays the same, and the numbers after the arrow zeros his name. That is now rounded to the nearest tenth. Okay, what if we were given 5 and 62 100ths? 5 and 62 100ths, rounding to the nearest tenth. So find your place. I'm going to change colors. Find your place. Look next door. 5 and above, add 1 more. 4 and below stays the same. So that's below, right? 2 is below. So the one that's going to stay the same is the 6. Everything before stays the same. So the 5 stays the same, the decimal point stays the same, and everything after zeros its name. Okay, let's try another one. What if we were given 2 and 48 100ths, and we're rounding to the nearest tenth? Find your place, look next door. 5 and above, add one more, so this 4 becomes a 5. Everything before stays the same. Everything after zeros his name. So everything hinges around this line. Once you find your place, then you look next door. This digit here, the one with the arrow, tells you, don't pay attention to what it says in the book. This is an easier method. They do the arrows a different way than I do. But with all my years, this I think is the best way to do it. So you underline, you find your place, look next door, look right next door. 5 and above, add one more to the underlined digit. So 8 is definitely above 5, so I add 4. I add 1 to the 4. It becomes a 5. Everything before the line stays the same. Everything after zeros his name. So I think in your notes, I wrote there everything after the arrow. Let's change that from everything after the arrow. Let's change it to say everything after the line, because it's not really just the arrow. It's the everything after the line. So we're going to write that in uppercase letters so that it stands out. Everything, and I'm going to circle it. Everything after the line zeros your name. So let's do another one. What if you were given 4 and 9 hundredths? 4 and 9 hundredths. And I want you to round it to the nearest 1. The nearest 1. Find your place. Look right next door. 5 and above. Add one more. 4 and below, leave the same. So that 4 stays the same. It does not go up. Everything before, which is nothing, stays the same. Everything after zeros his name. Okay, let's try another one. What if you were given 6 and 7/10? 6 and 7/10, and I want you to round it to the nearest 1. Find your place. Look right next door. 5 and above. Add one more. Everything before stays the same. Everything after zeros his name. We only put 1 0 there. Okay. How about this one? 8 and here, let's do a different color because we've been just using pink too much there. Let's go back to blue. Let's do 8 and 54 100ths. 8 and 54 100ths. Rounding to the nearest 1. Find your place. Look right next door. 5 and above. Add one more. Everything before stays the same. Everything after the underline zeros his name. So if you have 2 places after, you put 2 zeros. If you only have 1 place after, you only put 1 0. Okay? Alrighty. That is it. Once you know how to do that, it's the same. It's exactly the same as whole numbers. Nothing has changed. Find your place, look next door. 5 and above, add one more. 4 and lower, stays the same. Everything before the underline stays the same. Everything after the underline zeros his name.